Welcome back to The Art of Hobbiness. I'm Erin. As always, I'm joined by my wonderful co-host, Tam.
Yes!
Today, we're diving into her new hobby that's both fun and therapeutic, air dry clay molding.
Yes.
Yes. And Tam has recently picked up this hobby, and we're excited to hear all about her journey. Let's dive in.
Well, you remember how I, in our new hobby, new intentions episode, I was like, my new intention is I'm going to create a hobby budget. Well, you know, when you look at all the things that you spent on for Christmas, you realize, like, January, there's just, like, the budget's zero across the board. Yeah. So I stumbled upon doing, it wasn't my intent to go to this, it just kind of found me, into air dry clay modeling because I was cleaning.
Modeling, not molding.
Molding.
Okay.
I mean,
I think I said molding. I don't know.
Model. I don't really know, Erin.
Anyway.
I feel like it's, you know, it's half, what do they say? 6 out of 12, half a dozen the other way. But anyway, I was going through what supplies we already had in like hobby art world, from the kids stuff. And I found just like an opened, like barely used package of this air dry clay. So I was like, well, I mean, I don't, it's basically like adult Play-Doh, right? And so I was like, well, I'll take a shot at it. It wasn't something that I had lined up, but I'll take a shot at it. And we have like a ton of Play-Doh supplies. So I just kind of grabbed both.
Is that what it's kind of like? It's like Play-Doh?
I mean, yeah, essentially. I mean, it seems a little tougher. Now, well, I say it seems a little tougher. I don't know how long we've had this package in our basement.
Gotcha.
It's very possible.
Just expired.
Very expired clay. But I just started, I don't know, I just grabbed like a couple of like our Play-Doh shaping tools and just started messing with it. And it was kind of fun, right? Like it's easy. Like it's honestly, Erin, if I were to talk to a mom today and she was like, I don't care what hobby it is, just tell me one. I just need to do something to get started. I would say that air dry clay is like the gateway to hobbies.
Really?
I really do think so. Because I mean, like, think about it. Again, I think it's like Play-Doh for adults, right?
Sure.
And we've all been kids and at some point in time have touched clay. So we already have like this background or experience in just playing with dough, right?
Yeah.
And then like...
Why do you think you had this on hand in the first place?
Well, I don't actually know.
Okay.
You know, when you have kids, like art supplies just show up.
Right.
Like every birthday, every, holiday, like somebody's gifting them some sort of crafty thing, right? So I'm sure somewhere along the line it appeared in that business and I just put it in a Ziploc bag and just tossed it away because I just didn't know what to do with it when the kids weren't playing with it, right? I didn't really understand what it was.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never heard of it. So is it once you mold it, then you let it dry?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like self-explanatory.
Yeah, it really is.
Does it turn really hard into like, what is it, more like pottery or what is it?
Kind of.
Once it's dry, what is it?
Like when it's dry, it's, well, depending on how you dry it. So like if you just let it just truly just air dry and then just like, that's it, like you're done with your project, it kind of has like terracotta feel to it. Like if you're like touching like one of those vases. But you can put like finishing sprays on it.
Okay.
Like you can just go to Michael's and just buy like a spray. Or like if you're just wanting to do something that's a little bit more kid friendly, like you can just get some glue and water and kind of mix that and it kind of puts like a sheen and smooths it a little bit. I haven't tried doing anything to make it like dishwasher safe yet, but I think you can like make it like cups out of it.
So it's like almost like a mixture of Play-Doh and pottery.
Yeah.
But like you don't need any equipment really,
You really,
right? Just your
really
hands
don't.
and the clay.
Absolutely. And like honestly, like I feel like again, like I'm sitting here like the reasons why I would say it's like the gateway hobby is because like also like think about for a busy mom, right? So in the beginning of this, when we started doing this podcast and talked about hobbies, I was like, I only have 10 minutes.
Right.
But like that 10 minutes drags on if you've got nothing to do with it, right? Well, clay molding, you can literally just fiddle with that for 10 minutes. Or if you got 30 minutes, you could, actually try to put like something together. So like, for instance, one of my huge fails in the beginning is I was like, I'm going to try to make like a little teacup kind of espresso cup or something like that.
Wow,
to
that
go with
seems
my
like
espresso.
ambitious actually to start with.
You know, I
like that you were expecting to actually use.
Yes,
Nice.
I don't know. You know, I have these like visions of grandeur.
If you're gonna do it, might as well be useful.
I'm gonna show you this thing. It's this little rinky-dink thing that's like slanted, like it's not even like a flat bottom, and then like the handle. I literally just was like, it was like a piece of like a long strip that I cut out.
And was this like your very first thing you did?
This was my very first thing.
That was ambitious.
It was so ambitious.
Keep going.
It was ridiculous, Erin. I was like, well, it just seems like it should be so easy to throw together a mug.
Sure.
You can throw together a mug. It's just not perfect. But here's the thing: we're fighting for like perfectionism,
That's right?
So I really tried not to beat myself up about it, and just tried to be like, whatever. It's a little cup.
It's just for you.
It's just for me.
Yeah.
No one's gonna see this cup.
That's right.
But me when I'm making my coffee every morning, right? And
we might share it on Instagram, right?
We might share it. Well, we haven't got to share it on Insta. And it's this little thing, but like think about like for like busy moms, right? So you have 10 minutes or you have 30 minutes, right? Or maybe your kid's playing with Play-Doh. I found that like because the clay is actually white.
Okay.
So my kids hate it because it has no color.
Oh, interesting.
Which is
so it's
perfect.
they're all white. There's no.
I am sure you can, because like there's like there's types that you can get that aren't air dry, like you can like bake, right? So like those seem to come in more vibrant colors and are fun. So like those might be a little harder to keep your kids away from if you're really wanting to have like mommy's Play-Doh versus kids Play-Doh.
Yeah.
But the air dry clay is all white, and so it's boring to the kids. Like they don't want to do it. So I kind of found myself like whenever they were going to go play with Play-Doh, that I was like, well, mom's going to play too. And that's when I would build something. Guess what I built?
What'd you buy?
So I went on Pinterest for inspiration because I think a skill set that I still think I personally need to work on. And I don't know how to develop. So, like, I feel like I need to, like, start interviewing people. Maybe I should get a podcast and interview people, Erin, on how to get creative.
In this. Yes, that would be.
But, like, I still struggle with pulling creativity from my own.
Oh, yeah, I do too.
Thought, you know, like, does that make sense what I'm trying to say? Like, I don't know how to be original.
Yes.
I guess is what I'll say.
I do.
So I want to work on that set. But anyway, that's my side note. So I got on Pinterest and I was, like, looking for, like, projects, air dry projects that I could just have kind of in like my Rolodex. So like if I had 10 minutes, I could try that one. Or if I had 30 minutes, I could try that.
That's a good idea. Get some inspiration.
Yeah. Girlfriend, I've got to show you. It's the cutest. It's this little tic-tac-toe board that's like the size of a coaster.
Yeah.
And then
Did you make a little game?
I did.
Oh, that's a good
idea. So I use my kids' Play-Doh tools. Like I even had like their little Play-Doh spatula, and I'm like, shoving it under there to like pick it up and move it over to like a little drying rack. So it was so simple. I just had to roll out like a coaster-sized plate and then roll out a couple of lines to make the tic-tac-toe board. And then I took the kids' Play-Doh molder and just molded a couple of shapes.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Ta-da!
And so did you dry it? And now there's little pieces you can use to play tic-tac-toe?
Yes! I have to show you this thing.
Cute.
I would have to say
that's a good idea.
Of all the hobby stuff that I have done through all this, I love my tic-tac-toe board.
Very satisfying, right? To have like something
so
that you can keep
satisfying.
using after it's done.
And I did it in under 30 minutes.
Wow.
It was insane. And I literally just used the tool. Like, you can't tell me that there is not a household that doesn't have Play-Doh supplies in it.
Or, I mean, you could just use your own household. I mean, kitchen tools, right? Knives or whatever you need to do. Normal spatulas, too.
For sure.
If you don't have Play-Doh stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I can.
So, literally, it sounds like all you need is the clay.
And your hands.
And your imagination.
And your imagination and or Pinterest.
Yeah.
For inspiration. But, it's just like, again, like I feel like this is the one I'm going to recommend. Like any mom that I talk to who's like, I just need a hobby, give me something to go. I'm going to go air dry, like clay.
Wow.
Easy, so
it's
simple.
Like what a surprising find, right?
Truly.
Because it was kind of like you stumbled upon it because you didn't want to go out and buy anything for new hobbies in January. And wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, and it's got like
Who
this,
would've thought?
like you mentioned earlier in the intro, like it's got like this therapeutic side to it. Like, like for you, I know I've already kind of mentioned to you, and this is something we're going to talk about in future episodes, but I joined a book club recently.
Oh yeah, yes.
So I've embarked.
Look forward to hearing that. And we're laughing because Tam does not read books.
I don't read. I'm terrible.
Yeah, anyway,
so,
in the future.
Audiobooks, game changer, right?
Yes.
So it was great because I could habit stack with it. So like I could put the audiobook in my ear and then I could just sit there.
Yes.
And there were some times where I just played with the molding. Just like the clay, just because I just wanted to kind of like be busy with my hands.
It's like a fidget.
Oh my gosh! And if you spray water on it, it is kind of like a fidget. You're right. If you spray water on it, it gives it like this different texture. That's kind of I'm gonna say slimy, but it's not slimy. It's kind of. I mean, well, maybe it is slimy. Maybe it is.
Like wet Play-Doh. Like it's kind of slimy. I know
it's
what you're
just
saying.
like wet
I can
Play-Doh.
imagine. I think.
But like it gives a different texture, and so like there were times where I just wanted to play with it, and I just kind of had something in my hand, and it was just kind of nice while I was listening to a book to just kind of zen and kind of do like a repetitive motion that kind of kept it going. But again, and like the cleanup is like minimal.
Yeah.
So like it really is like a good entry hobby for a mom to do because it's quick to pick up. It's
quick to get out too.
Quick to get
like
out.
You don't have a lot of tools or anything you need.
Really don't have a lot of tools that you need.
So very little setup, very little cleanup.
Little setup. If your kids are playing with Play-Doh, you can sit there right next to them and play with mom's Play-Doh. So it's like you're kind of you're habit stacking with your kids too. Like it's like an activity that you can do together, but not necessarily doing the same project together, right? Like mom still gets to explore, like, and you can make so many household items out of it. Like if you need a vase for this spring and you're trying to get ready with all of like your herbs, make yourself a little pot for it. Or
now, how durable are they once they're hardened? Like they're pretty.
Turns into basically like ceramic type of.
Are they in there waterproof then? Like, or like could it hold water?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
And like I said, depending on the finishing that you put on it, that almost like seals it to only further make it more.
Once
durable.
it's hard, can you paint it? Or is there like you can add designs to it? Okay, have you done that at all?
Yeah, well, so I didn't actually. I let the kids do it.
Oh, that's fun.
I had them do it with some of their paints and actually markers on the ones that we didn't finish. Markers were just fine, and the kids had so much fun. Just like, and with that, all I did was I used their Play-Doh molder and just punched a bunch of different. Like I think there was one, they've got like a cooking Play-Doh set. So I was punching out pretzels, orange slices.
Oh, that's a good idea too. And then they can color those.
They can color them, and they were using them for their dolls as food. Like it was so multifunctional. I'm telling you, this is the gateway hobby. Like moms, if you're out there and you're like, I don't know, I just need something. Just tell me the one to do. Air dry clay molding.
I literally have never heard of it. And I mean, now that you're talking about it, I guess I've seen it probably before. Do you feel like you can get it at any hobby or any store? Like, I wonder if Target has it, or is it just like Michael's, or do you have to?
Actually, I was walking through Target yesterday, and I was looking to see if I saw it there, and I don't recall if I did see.
But for sure, like Michael's or Hobby Lobby, something like that. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And it's literally you just pick up like a little, like the package comes like it's like the size of like a brick, really.
And how much does that cost, like for that?
I honestly don't know because I didn't buy this one.
That's true.
I found this one. Maybe I should have researched that for.
That's okay. I'm assuming it's probably not very much though.
I can't even imagine. Yeah. And like I said, it goes so far. Like especially like I would say I've made 4 or 5 projects on it so far, and they're nothing like major. Like I haven't done anything. Like my little teacup is, again, it's like a little teacup size. It's so small. Yeah. And I would say I haven't even used half of the brick yet. Like it really kind of goes pretty far. Nice. And like my next project I'm coming up on is like, we were going to be spring, and I was thinking, why don't I make like little garden sticks that tell you what the seeds are, like this one,
that's
like
a cute
basil.
Idea. That's a good idea, and you can write on them, so that's a clever too.
Right.
Man, it really seems like it could be so many uses.
It's a gateway habit because I feel like so you start off by going, I want to make something that could like tell me what seeds are in a garden, and then
get into gardening.
It snowballs into I'm going to plant a little herb garden, and then it snowballs into like now I want to actually put like bigger like plants in my garden, and I want to explore that more. Like it literally is the gateway hobby, Erin. I think we've stumbled upon like the most
give this a try.
Hobby ever.
Yeah,
highly recommend anyone listening to this episode today go buy yourself some air dry clay modeling.
Yeah,
clay,
if you're needing like something to start with, like a 10-minute quick one, inexpensive.
You're welcome.
Yes,
I just
thank you, Tam.
Got you all started.
Wow,
it is the best.
It was just like a happenstance hobby that you just
absolutely.
Wow.
And it's not something that like I'm like. I mean, like I had some absolute fails, and it's not something that like I think personally is
but
like.
Is it really a failure? I mean, like.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah, I guess that's true.
How long do you have to? That's the other question. Like, how long can you mold it for before it starts to harden and you can't really do much with it after that?
It does get kind of tough, because I mean, it's the air. It takes air for it to dry, so like it does kind of get a little tougher. But like if you use the water and like kind of keep working it, that kind of keeps it going.
Oh, okay.
But it doesn't, like they say that like you only need to let it air dry for like 24 to 48 hours.
So you have some time though when you're working with it. It's not like it's like drying on you.
No. I mean, I did find that like because I'm no expert in this clay at all, but like I did find that like sometimes I could over wet it, and like when I was like trying, and then like it just was like useless to me, and trying to, especially when it came to trying to like punch little molds and like the Play-Doh stuff, it almost like it would get stuck to it, and I was like, well, that didn't quite work out. So like there is a technique, as there is to all hobby things, right? But like in this particular one, I feel like maybe I should have done a little bit more research before, just poured so much. Like I was spraying so much water. Oh, gotcha,
yeah. Well, you know what? That's experiment. That's how you learn, right? And
it really is.
Yeah. I mean, figured that out easier than reading it online, probably.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And like I said, just like going on Pinterest and just like pinning a bunch of like project ideas down my Rolodex. So then when I had like 10 minutes, I just grabbed the clay, tried it out, fail or not. But, I think, going back to like, how like perfectionism is also very key to all this. I think making sure that I didn't try to put this perfectionism on me made me appreciate my little teacup a little bit more, because it's just this pitiful little thing, but I'm just so proud of how cute and little it is.
Have you actually used it to drink some espresso?
I haven't. I'm actually quite nervous about its durability. I'm not so sure it can handle everyday use, but I'm hoping that like as I continue to like practice with it and like get better like equipped with how to like attach. I think that's the thing that I really could work a little bit more, is like attachment.
The little handle.
Yeah. Like I'm sure there's technique that I just need to look into, right? But I can see myself getting really good at it to the point where like next Christmas everybody's gonna get a cute little present from Tam. Get ready here.
Oh, well, that's amazing. The gift that keeps on giving. Yes. The hobby that keeps on giving.
Or I just buy a brick and gift it to all of you. There you go. Because I'm telling you, it's
and everybody's going to open this big, heavy present and be like, oh my gosh, what is this? And they open it and they're like,
and they're going to be inspired, Erin. They're all going to be inspired because I'm sure they all listen to this.
Right. Yes. The best present ever, Tam. Thank you.
So, yes, highly recommend. Okay. I think it is, nice. It is the entry hobby. I'm convinced.
Wow. I'm convinced too. You have convinced me. Yeah. Well, we have our rating, our 5 out of 5, I'm guessing, but you can go ahead and break it down for the listeners on so engagement, enjoyment, skill development, social interaction, and stress relief.
Oh man. So stress relief, I would definitely rank it high. Because like I said, there's like this therapeutic element to it where you just kind of like you can really like work your thumbs in there. And I bet like on some level, like anybody who maybe like is having like any type of ailment in their hands, I could see how that could kind of also like help with that, right? Just like
if you have arthritis or or maybe even carpal tunnel. I don't know. Yeah.
I feel like there's got to be some sort of element that can kind of help with that. So I personally found stress levels were pretty low. I could see how somebody who is kind of in the beginning phases of fighting that perfectionism could maybe get a little stressed from like the teacup not going quite as well. But I think if you go into it with this mindset of if it gets out of hand, just smash it and start over, right? Like it's so nice. It doesn't have to be a project of production, right? It could just be a project of you just want to be zen, or you're going to pop in that audiobook and you just want something to do with your hands while you do it. Boom, there you go. Let magic take you. Also, I really liked the fact that like this was a project that I could take from like just doing it by myself and just kind of having like my own mommy time to bringing the kids in and like they're making their clay molds with the Play-Doh and I'm doing my clay molds with the air dry stuff. Like it's very versatile in that. Like you can really switch up what kind of, like you have control over your environment. And then again, like entry level, I feel like anybody could pick it up. We all have a basic Play-Doh skill set. Like you tell me any person in the world that has not touched some sort of Play-Doh, right? Like you have some sort of skill set in it already. So, I mean, I found joy in times where I made really awesome little projects like my little tic-tac-toe set, which I cannot wait to show you. And then I also found some growth and not getting myself beat up about like my teacup. Like in my head, I had this amazing teacup picture.
Yeah.
And then when I actually busted it out, I was like, well, that was kind of a fail. But I'm not going to beat myself up about it because literally no one's going to see it but me. Right. So I would rank this really, again, I'm convinced it is the gateway hobby. So 5 out of 5.
I think you've said that 10 times, so I believe it.
Maybe that's the title of the episode, Gateway Hobby. Air dry clay. It is the number one, in my opinion, I think should be recommended to any beginner in hobby that's what I think.
Awesome.
Firm believer.
5 out of 5.
5 out of 5.
For ranking.
Yes.
I'm so excited. You have to give me some of that to take home. Maybe you could just give me a little bit and I could just do a little project on my own.
That's a great idea. That's exactly what I'm going to do.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to give you some.
Well, I've really enjoyed talking about this. And I can tell you love it because you're so excited. so I think everybody can. Yes. Well, who knew you could be so enthusiastic about clay?
Had no idea. I literally stumbled upon it kind of like more annoyed that I blew my budget for the year already. And it's only January.
Right.
But
Yeah, awesome. Well, we hope our listeners enjoyed this and maybe got a tip or two or some inspiration to go try this new hobby.
Do it.
So, and
tell your friends.
Yes, tell your friends. And we'd love for you to join us next time on The Art of Hobbiness and listen for more inspiration.
You need to listen to more inspiration.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks.
Bye.
Talk to you next time. Bye.
Thanks for listening to The Art of Hobbiness. Be sure to leave a review and rating. And for a little extra Aaron and Tam fun, be sure to follow us on Instagram and Pinterest for behind-the-scenes footage of our journey to find hobbiness.